contain.
Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana will be tabling the National Budget 2025 next week on Wednesday. All stakeholders that all stakeholders that participate in the economy and society at large will be keenly listening as to how the budget affects them. One sector that plays a critical role in the economy that will be listening is the SME sector. Well, to give us some insights on the key issues SMEs will be looking out for, I'm joined by Oscar Siziba, not a relative, I think. He's the head of coverage at Standard Bank South Africa Business Banking. Thank you so much for joining us, Oscar. So what are the critical issues that you discuss with your SME customers around what they consider to be a conducive economic environment to operate in?
Good afternoon. The critical issues that SMEs consider important for a conducive economic growth include the access to finance and reducing red tape. And access to finance really speaks broadly to all available finance, whether it's from banks or non-banking institutions or it's from government. And reducing red tape is becoming a big area that becomes an important piece that needs to be addressed. And red tape must never be looked at from a government perspective. This could be red tape relating to suppliers, red tape relating to customers, where SMEs feel that, most of the things that are being asked do not bring them into the business, it takes them out of the business. Things such as policy support for job creation and scaling operations becomes a critical issue that is important for this environment. So they will be looking up to see from government what kind of policies are there to support them. The digital transformation and technology adoption, it becomes a very important element because what it does, it allows our SMEs to enhance competitiveness, streamline processes, and simplify things. And then lastly, Nompu, simplified cross-border trade activities and access to markets is one area that is critical for SMEs to operate in this environment. The days of only focusing only in SA as an SME are gone. You need to start broadening your mind and look at opportunities in other markets in the rest of the continent. It's becoming a big trading environment for SMEs. So those are the critical issues that I believe that SMEs consider important for this economic environment.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right there, especially about, entrepreneurs believing that they can actually have overseas markets, because you don't have to be big, you just have to be different and have a market that's interested in what you have to offer. So the finance minister is going to try yet again to speak to the needs of all the various stakeholders in the economy with a limited budget. But what kind of support could he realistically announce for the SME sector on the financial side? You've highlighted some of the non-financial elements that need addressing, but on the financial side?
I think the first one I'd like to point out is there is an expectation around streamlined SME support through initiatives such as what does the Siziba agents needs to do for SMEs. I think one of the things that really is important, and I look up to see what the minister will cover on that, is it seems as if many of the SMEs feel that it's punitive to become formal. So policies and initiatives that speak to formalizing SMEs, encouraging them to be formal, because when they are formal, they can get assisted, they can get support they require, they get access to markets. And then the second one is the tax incentive for SMEs. I think most of the SMEs still believe that they are being taxed at levels that are punitive, that does not take into account that they are starting small and growing and doesn't encourage them to do many things. So there's going to be a lot of that expectation. For example, the Youth Employment Services Initiative, which we call YES, and issues around special economic zones and how those will enable SMEs to be able to do a lot than they're doing will be important. Increased funding for SMEs development and creating programs that are really implementable and executable, that assist SMEs not only to set up, because SMEs need to grow, but we have a lot of programs that we need to get you to start. But when you have started, you don't have anywhere to go to understand how do you grow, how do you manage your program, so your business is going forward. Those are some of the elements that are important. And obvious last one is, can we look at simplified regulatory processes to reduce some of the operational barriers that SMEs are experiencing at the moment.
Yeah, just to move a little bit away from the actual budget per se, this is the year that South Africa is holding the G20 presidency. And in the statement that you issued to us as media, you talked about how there were opportunities for SMEs given this situation. Just tell us some of the opportunities that you think that SMEs could benefit from, and do they extend beyond South Africa holding the G20 presidency?
This is an important year, not only for South Africa, but for the rest of the continent, because this means a lot to anybody else in Africa. But for SMEs, they have great opportunities to showcase innovation, build global partnerships at the summit. And this allows them to really access the international markets and trade opportunities through some of these global policies, discussions that will emerge. We're looking up to see a lot of opportunities. And I think one of the critical elements is these sessions tend to support the development of Black industrialists, which is something else that we need in the SME environment. And that allows us to create more jobs, allows us to create more opportunities. We need more manufacturing. We need more activities. That is not only services, but where we actually develop our own products that we can send into the rest of the world.
Yeah. So the constant criticism from the SME sector is that commercial banks don't do enough to assist them in fulfilling their business goals. What kind of support are you, lending to this sector, and what more are you looking to do, given the crucial role that this sector plays in terms of economic growth and job creation?
Besides a lot that has been done around funding and access to finance, I think there's a lot of let's develop products that are digital and tailor-made to our SMEs and allowing them to be able to start and manage and grow their business sustainably. It is something else that has eluded a lot of financial institutions, and I think that's a critical role that I see banks such as Standard Bank can play in making sure that the SMEs are supported. Secondly, making sure we offer access to trade corridors. Africa, China, US, and some of the global partnerships allow us to have some very good opportunities which are supported by trade agreements. It's really opening the trade agreements publicly to all of the SMEs and say, here are some of the opportunities that exist in the continent, in China, in US, and in Europe. And then lastly, is continuously supporting SMEs through enterprise supply development programs, making sure you provide with digital tools, and more importantly, really encouraging SMEs to look beyond our borders. And organizations such as Standard Bank, which has got a reach into the rest of the continent, we're really encouraging SMEs to go out there and access these markets. We believe that a small business is big business.
All right. Thank you for that, Oscar, for your time there. That was Oscar Siziba. He's the head of coverage at Standard Bank South Africa Business Banking. Experts anticipate